Grey Sloan Memorial is in ruins. Smoke still lingers in the hallways. Blood on the floor. Lives shattered. And the worst part? This wasn't just another hospital crisis, it was a full-blown war zone. And the doctors were on the front lines. No warning. No mercy. A calculated explosion. A hostage situation. A child's life hanging by a thread. Jenna didn't walk in with a plea for help, she walked in with a gas canister and turned an entire hospital into her personal battleground. And just when it looked like things had calmed down, boom, a second explosion. Unplanned, unforgivable, unexplained. Who set it off, and more importantly, who didn't survive it? That's the brutal cliffhanger season 21 dumped on millions of stunned viewers. No closure, no answers, just chaos. 1 second you're watching a tense surgery, the next, flames engulf the OR. Jenna was arrested, sure, but her arrest solved nothing. The explosion still happened. So, was someone else in on it? Did she have help? Or is this hospital cursed beyond saving? Let's be honest, Grey's Anatomy hasn't just been about surgeries. For a long time, it's a soap opera with a scalpel. And now the stakes are higher than ever. We've seen planes crash, shootings, ferryboat disasters. But this was personal. Grey Sloan wasn't just under attack. It was being dismantled from the inside. And nobody looked safe. The 9-year-old girl that Jenna forced doctors to operate on, she survived, barely. But the emotional damage to Amelia, Lucas, and especially Meredith, that's not something you walk off. These aren't gods in white coats anymore, they're broken. Traumatized people trying to pretend the hospital still functions like it did before the blast. Spoiler alert, it doesn't. Now fans are screaming the question no one at ABC wants to answer directly: will Meredith come back? Permanently, yes, she's been a shadow in recent episodes. But Grey Sloan is her legacy. And with the hospital in ashes and lives hanging in the balance, her absence feels like a betrayal. How long can they keep pretending this show works without its backbone? But it gets worse. Despite what felt like a series finale disguised as a season ender, Disney and ABC are pushing forward. Season 22 is officially happening, and according to industry insiders, it's not even close to being the last one. Because here's the twist: while longtime fans wonder how much more emotional damage they can endure, younger audiences are binging it like it's TikTok content. Grey's isn't dying, it's mutating. It's evolving into something darker, more chaotic, more unpredictable. Which is exactly why Season 22 is shaping up to be the most explosive chapter yet, figuratively. And literally. So, what's next? Who's alive? Who's burned? Who's too broken to return? Asterisk. Let's talk about the trailer, the chaotic, fragmented, emotionally loaded Season 22 trailer that dropped like a bombshell and stirred the ashes of Grey Sloan all over again. It's not a teaser. It's a warning. A flashing red light that says, you thought things were bad? You haven't seen anything yet. The first few frames are eerily quiet. That's already unsettling. No beeping monitors. No panicked footsteps. Just charred walls, shattered glass, and blood-streaked scrubs lying abandoned. The camera lingers on a half-melted surgical mask. It's not subtle. It's a message. Everything has changed. Then the voices come in shaky, desperate. Lucas whispering, I should have stopped her. Amelia, her face streaked with smoke and tears, saying, we broke every rule to save that girl. And it still wasn't enough. And then a voice we haven't heard in a while, Meredith's. I told them Grey Sloan would eat them alive. Wait, what? That's not the Meredith we remember. That's not strength. That's not calm. That's resentment. That's someone who's done pretending. So why is she saying it now? Why does it sound like she's blaming the hospital itself, or worse, walking away from it again? The trailer then whips through flashes chaos like always. Trauma rooms, overflowing, helmets on surgeons, code reds, Teddy being wheeled into emergency surgery, Bailey clutching a file with trembling hands, Joe screaming at someone off camera, and then the body bag being zipped up slowly. They didn't show us who it was. Of course they didn't. ABC wants you guessing, panicking, theorizing. They know what they're doing. Because this isn't just television anymore. It's emotional hostage-taking. And we keep tuning in because we need closure. Just like the doctors. But here's where it gets even more twisted. Jenna's storyline not over. Not by a long shot. Despite being arrested, despite the explosion, despite almost killing her own daughter to force a surgery, the trailer ends with her face, pale, smiling, sitting across from Bailey in an interrogation room. Bailey, voice trembling, "Who helped you?" "Jenna, you'll find out soon. Excuse me, we're seriously doing this now? Is there a bigger conspiracy? Was Jenna just the tip of some deranged iceberg? Who the hell is backing her? And more importantly, why target Grey Sloan again and again? We've seen this hospital survive unspeakable tragedies, but this time it feels like the trauma is internal. The staff is fractured, relationships are splintering, trust is eroding, and while fans are busy asking who died, the real question might be, who betrayed them? Even if the fire was accidental, the second explosion wasn't. The fire marshal's report in the trailer said it clearly, deliberately triggered. Secondary device, internal access. That means someone inside the hospital set it off, and that's when every viewer collectively went, no way. But who else had access? Who knew the OR schedule? Who knew exactly when and where the doctors would be during the critical moment? That kind of precision isn't random. It's calculated, cold, maybe even personal. You think about all the names: Winston, Owen, Teddy, Link, even the interns. Could one of them really go that far? For revenge, for justice, or for something darker? Let's not pretend Grey's doesn't love pulling the rug out from under us. Remember when George died? When Lexi and Mark didn't make it? When Derek was ripped out of the show without mercy? Every time you get comfortable. Shonda Rhimes and her team go full scorched earth. Now, as we look ahead to season 22, there's no comfort, only questions. Where's Teddy? The last we saw, she was unconscious, bleeding from the head, and unresponsive after the blast. We haven't seen her eyes open since. The trailer gives us a glimpse barely. A hand twitch, a tear. Monitors flatlining. Where's Owen? He's not shown at all. That's not a good sign. When Grey's wants to hide a death, they go silent. No updates, no mention, just gone. Fans are terrified he's the one in the body bag. And what about Bailey, the heart of Grey Sloan? The woman who's held this mess together more times than anyone can count. She's visibly shaken in every single clip, shaking hands, whispering to herself. She knows something big, something she's scared to say out loud. Then there's the Meredith-sized hole in the plot. She wasn't there when it happened, and yet she seems to know too much. Her voiceover in the trailer doesn't sound shocked. It sounds haunted, like she's been watching this unravel from a distance, like she warned someone this would happen, like she saw it coming and still walked away. And now rumors are flying. Is Meredith the key to Jenna's past? Some fans think so. Wild theories are spiraling. Was Jenna's daughter connected to one of Meredith's old patients? Was Meredith the doctor who failed her once years ago? Is this revenge wrapped in fire and tragedy? Sounds ridiculous, until you remember that Grey's Anatomy has done far crazier things. Ghosts, bombs in body cavities, and plane crashes where half the cast died. Nothing is off limits anymore. But the real gut punch? The trailer's final message, some scars never heal. It's written across the screen in slow, burning letters, followed by silence. No music, just a flat line, then a gasp. So someone does survive, but barely. And now we're all left clinging to this one horrible thought. What if the explosion wasn't the end, but the beginning? Because if Jenna's last move wasn't her last, then Grey Sloan's darkest days are still ahead. And someone, maybe someone we trust, isn't done playing God with their lives. Let's go back to Jenna, the woman everyone assumed was just another unstable patient with a tragic backstory. But oh no, this isn't some one-off. She didn't just snap, she planned. She infiltrated. She learned hospital layouts, emergency response times, schedules. She brought a gas canister and forced the doctors to operate on her daughter under duress, risking everyone's lives, and still, that wasn't the end. Because she hinted smirked that she wasn't alone, that smirk is haunting fans. It wasn't a smirk of a woman who lost control. It was the smirk of someone who won. And the moment that interrogation seemed dropped in the trailer, chaos, Jenna, calm as ever, stares Bailey down and says, "You'll find out soon." That one line flipped the whole narrative on its head. Now we're not dealing with a desperate mother. We're dealing with a bigger operation, one with insider access, one with motives that go deeper than one child's illness. You think Jenna just wandered in and bypassed security during a full-on surgery block? You think that second explosion triggered with precise timing was just dumb luck? Someone inside Grey Sloan is helping her. Don't let that sink in. Someone who wears a badge. Someone who scrubs in. Someone who walks those halls every day, trusted by everyone, is part of this madness. And here's the thing Grey doesn't want to admit. This time the call is coming from inside the house. Let's break it down. Owen Hunt, missing in action. Not a single confirmed sighting post-explosion. The trailer avoids him like the plague. And that's not a coincidence. When Grey's doesn't show a character during disaster fallout, it's usually because something unspeakable happened to them, or they're tied to something they shouldn't be. We've seen Owen spiral before. PTSD, rage, guilt. He's the kind of character who bottles everything up until it explodes. Literally. Teddy Altman, flatlined in the finale, shown barely alive in the trailer. Her fate? Hanging by a thread. Fans are praying she survives. But the way the editors cut her clips with fading heartbeat monitors and dramatic zooms feels like they're preparing us to say goodbye. And if she dies, Owen's story might go with her. But what if she knew something? What if her injury wasn't just collateral damage? Amelia Shepherd, fractured. Emotionally undone. She was one of the doctors forced to operate under Jenna's threat. But now, she's barely holding it together. There's a scene where she throws surgical instruments across a locker room, screaming, alone. And it's not just about the girl. It's guilt. Deep, personal, terrifying guilt. What did she do that night? What did she let happen? Lucas Adams, the intern who was once seen as the future of Grey Sloan, now, he's a shell. The trailer shows him sitting alone in a hallway, muttering to himself, "This wasn't supposed to happen. She said it would be okay." She said, who's she? Jenna? Someone else? Was he manipulated into helping? Did he leave a door unlocked? Did he turn a blind eye to something he should have stopped? Then there's the wild card. Joe Wilson. Oh, Joe. The one who's always carrying 10 emotional grenades in her back pocket. In the trailer, she's seen screaming at someone off camera. You think this is how we protect each other? By hiding the truth? That doesn't sound like someone grieving. That sounds like someone who knows something and is sick of covering it up. And still, no one talks about the second device. The fire marshal's report said it clearly, secondary device, triggered from inside the OR wing. Access restricted, which means whoever set it off had full knowledge of the hospital's inner workings, security protocols, timing, evacuation procedures. This wasn't an attack. It was a performance. And the hospital, the stage. ABC hasn't confirmed which characters are returning full-time. And that silence is deafening. They know fans are desperate for answers. They know we're dissecting every trailer frame like forensic analysts, and still no answers. No names. Just more cryptic teasers and vague episode loglines. Let's talk about the title of Episode 1, Season 22. Leaked online briefly before being yanked by ABC's PR team. The first scar. That's loaded, symbolic, traumatizing. Because it implies that what happened in the explosion wasn't the worst of it. It was just the beginning. The first wound in what may be a long, painful dissection of the hospital's soul. What are they hiding? Meredith Grey. She left. She checked out, moved on. But she's not gone. Her voice haunts the trailer, and if there's one thing Grey's fans know, it's that when Meredith's around, nothing happens by accident. So why is she watching from a distance? Why does she sound so cold, detached, resigned? Here's a theory that's gaining traction. Meredith knew. Not about the explosion, about the rot, about the betrayal, the insider, the flaw in the foundation of Grey Sloan. Maybe that's why she left. Not because she was tired, but because she couldn't stop what was coming. And maybe she didn't want to. Outrageous, maybe. But we've seen Meredith keep secrets before. We've seen her break the rules to protect people she loves. What if this time she looked away when she should have looked closer? Now, let's talk numbers. Just to make the pain even worse, Grey's Anatomy has aired over for 120 episodes. It's been on air for nearly 2 decades. It's outlived most of its original cast. And still, it remains ABC's most-watched scripted drama. Let that sink in. A show built around medical trauma and emotional torment is still breaking records. And what does ABC do with that power? They push the narrative into even darker territory. Because the numbers prove it, pain sells, tragedy gets views, and emotional manipulation, that's their golden ticket. So yes, Grey Sloan exploded, people died, people might still die. But this show isn't slowing down, it's speeding up. Into what, though? That's the terrifying part. Because if Jenna's last move wasn't her last, and if someone inside helped her, then this isn't over. Not even close. And now there's one last, horrifying possibility. What if the next explosion isn't physical? What if it's reputational, a scandal, a lawsuit, a medical cover-up so massive it destroys Grey Sloan's credibility forever? Because in the trailer's final 5 seconds, there's a single file marked Confidential Patient Death Investigation. Bailey opens it. Her face turns white. She gasps. And then it cuts to black. So now we ask again. Who survives? Maybe. Not just the explosion. Maybe not just the fire. Maybe not just the betrayal. But who survives the fallout when every single lie at Grey Sloan comes to light? Everything up until now, every fiery frame, every desperate whisper, every mystery hanging over Grey Sloan, it all leads to one boiling point. Grey's Anatomy Season 22 isn't just about survival, it's about exposure. This isn't another medical miracle season, it's a reckoning. The hospital once seen as untouchable, almost sacred, is crumbling not from the outside, but from within. And for the first time in the show's history, the real threat isn't death, it's truth. Let's start with what ABC still refuses to confirm. The official body count from the explosion. Fans are counting every appearance in the trailer like their lives depend on it. Some characters are seen for a split second, others not at all. Owen, Helm, Schmidt, Maggie, even some of the new interns vanished. Not mentioned, not shown. And Grey's has a nasty habit of keeping characters missing until they drop their deaths like a gut punch midway through the season. And if you think that's cruel, you're absolutely right. Because this isn't just storytelling anymore, this is emotional warfare. ABC and the writers want us paranoid. They want us to fear every beep, every slow motion scene, every lingering shot on a hospital bed. And guess what? It's working. But even more disturbing, this season might finally shatter the Grey Sloan mythology. Remember how this hospital has always been portrayed? A place of miracles, second chances, redemption arcs. Yeah, forget all that. Season 22 is peeling back the polished layers and revealing a brutal, ugly reality. Doctors breaking protocol, covering up malpractice, ignoring signs, bending under pressure. And the leaked report Bailey finds, oh, it's real. Sources say it ties a series of patient deaths directly to errors made during the chaos of Jenna's siege. Not because the doctors were careless, but because they were forced into choices that were doomed from the start. Now, there's talk of the hospital facing investigations, media scandals, lawsuits, maybe even criminal charges. And here's the nightmare scenario. What if Grey Sloan loses its license, Think about it. No more surgeries. No more emergency room. Just a building. Full of ghosts and lawsuits. They've teased hospital shutdowns before, but this time, it doesn't feel like a threat. It feels inevitable. Then there's the emotional nuclear bomb. Meredith's return. Yes, it's happening. The showrunners haven't said it publicly, but eagle-eyed fans spotted her name in leaked call sheets for multiple episodes early in the season. But this won't be the same Meredith. She's not coming back to save anyone. She's coming back because she has to face the mess she left behind. And based on the trailer, she's not happy to be there. There's a line she says in the shadows of the hospital ruins, "I don't recognize this place anymore." Neither do we. This place, Grey Sloan, used to be where miracles happened, where people clawed their way back from the edge, where pain was a stepping stone, not a dead end. But now, it's a graveyard of secrets. Every floor holds a new trauma. Every room echoes with something unsaid. And for the first time, the surgeons don't look like saviors. They look like suspects. And what about Jenna's soon? Let's not forget she promised more was coming. So if she wasn't bluffing, and let's be real, she wasn't, then we're looking at a longer game. She's not done, whether it's someone working with her from the inside, or another outsider using the explosion to cover up something else. Jenna's final words weren't a warning. They were a promise. One insider theory suggests a massive character betrayal is coming mid-season. Someone we trust. Someone fans love. And that person will be revealed to have had a role, direct or indirect, in making Jenna's plan possible. A deleted scene reportedly showed someone turning off a hallway security cam just minutes before Jenna entered. Coincidence? Please. Even Bailey starts to lose her grip. In a voiceover, she says, "I built this place. I won't watch it fall." But she does, and she will. Because sometimes strength isn't enough when the entire system is rotten. When every moral compass is spinning out of control. When trauma becomes tradition. And survival means silence. So, where does that leave us? It leaves us on the brink, standing at the edge of a story that isn't just about who died in the fire, but who will never be the same because of it. It leaves us with a hospital filled with ghosts, and a cast of characters running from their own guilt. It leaves us waiting for answers, for healing, for retribution. Because this isn't a hospital drama anymore. It's a ticking bomb, and the clock is still running. Season 20 to premiere soon. Get ready, because this time, Grey Sloan may not survive. So, here we are, days away from the most anticipated, most terrifying season Grey's Anatomy has ever dared to deliver. The hospital is broken, the trust is gone, and the scars, emotional, physical, psychological, are deeper than ever. No one is safe, no one is innocent, and no one is ready for what's coming next. The question isn't just who survives the explosion anymore, it's who survives what follows. Who walks away? Who crumbles? And who finally pays the price for the blood, the lies, and the silence? Grey's has always been about healing, about finding light in the darkest moments. But this time, the darkness might win. Are you ready for season 22? Or are you afraid of what it might reveal? Let us know your theories, your fears, and who you think won't make it out alive. Drop them in the comments.